This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from Playtime Poppy Children's Theater, Lynne Jensen and Marcia Hughes. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning.
Hey, Dennis. Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Marcia, you've been involved in the board for Playtime Poppy for some time, and Lynne, you are brand new in a new role because it is how many years that Playtime Poppy has been around?
This is the 68th season for the Happy Little Ear of Corn.
So anyone who has grown up or had kids or grandkids in a Cedar Rapids school has probably been exposed to Playtime Poppy. But all of this time, 68 years, the organization has never had a managing director until now.
Until
Lynne. So, Lynne, of course, you've been a teacher and the theater director in the Cedar Rapids in schools for a long, long time, retired from day-to-day teaching, but dove right back in to this role with hardly even a break. I know you and Jay travel a little bit, but tell me what attracted you to this new position.
It was an opportunity to stay involved in the community and stay focused on theater in a completely different way. It's also a nice transition to theater education and working with teachers, bringing theater to the classrooms as part of Poppy's mission, and bringing theater to the community. Like, this is already a community that has lots of theater anyway. But it's also about maintaining Poppy's heritage, her 68 years of being a happy little ear of corn around here.
For those who may not be familiar with it for one reason or another, Marcia, explain the structure of how it works, because Playtime Poppy is not a troupe that puts on its own shows. You work with schools to put on shows with them.
That's true. Each year during the school year, Playtime Poppy produces, with the partnerships with the three high schools, 3 productions in our high schools, in our Cedar Rapids high schools. So in the fall, we partner with Jefferson High School. In the winter, we partner with Kennedy High School. And in the spring, we partner with Washington High School to produce a production, a children's theater production, using their high school students for audiences that involve families and small children. And that's largely been the mission of Poppy all along. That's the key mission. Also, we can put some artists in the classrooms to do some book adventure things, page to stage, different ways to teach theater arts in the classroom, working with some teachers. But our key pieces are those 3 productions. And then in the summer, an opportunity with the Czech and Slovak Museum to do a partnership that involves young artists producing their own show, coming together to do a summer theater adventure and do their own production for their families. And then we partner with Bruce Moore in July to put on the children's theater production in the summer, and that's a cast of adults.
Okay, well, that's a busy season.
Very busy season.
A lot of work for you, Lynne, as the director.
Oh, my. Well, we're just getting started on that. And it's more about organizing other people to come into these roles and finding the talents and combining them for the tasks and to make those shows happen.
The fall production, which takes place at Jefferson, so that's a
nice segue.
How can we miss you when you keep coming back?
Right.
Because that's where you retired from, and now
Yes.
you're back.
It was weird to be in the building last week, and we did Operation Backstage, which is another initiative. It's 3rd graders from usually the feeder schools of that high school for an interactive backstage workshop that takes about an hour. Poppy buses the schools in to that high school that's doing that show, and they get to do some hands-on interactive pieces of how theater's produced, especially with a show that doesn't have any words or, is a silent movie. These kids got to paint a little bit of the set. They had to learn how the sound effects table works, how the lights and sound work. So that was an awful lot of fun to organize. It was weird to go back into the building without having been there. I didn't have a key. I couldn't get in.
You had to wear a little volunteer.
Yes.
You had to wear the little
Yes,
volunteer
badge
stacker.
on.
Yeah.
Had a different badge on, but that was also part of being really rewarding for me to be able to work with a whole different set of people in a completely different way, but in a familiar space and sort of a familiar role. To be on the other side of that activity. Same thing on Wednesday, tomorrow.
You've hinted just a little bit about the production, which is going to be done at Jefferson, which is unique in Playtime Poppy and kind of a unique experience. Tell me about Reeling.
Reeling is a silent film that you can laugh out loud to. It's Joe Link selected it as he's directing it, and it certainly suits his skills and his creativity. So it's based a little bit on the silent film stories of Buster Keaton. So the main character's name, it happens to be Buster, and he's going to propose, but all these things get in the way. So the story is a slapstick comedy in black and white with the sound effects table, and there'll be some. I think Mr. Link has some projections of silent films going on the sides of the walls as you come in, so that you kind of get a sense of what is a silent film, because most of us weren't around for that either, or not very familiar with it.
And certainly not the young families
Right.
who are going to be coming to the show.
Right, but it's the opportunity to, watch the action and then understand it and be able to laugh even though there's no words.
So the production itself has no words. There will be sound.
There's lots of sound.
Because you said almost more like a radio drama where there's a special effects table and that's and this is all then produced with Jefferson students.
That's correct. All the performers are Jefferson students, and all of the technicians are Jefferson students, and then Playtime Poppy brings in the audiences.
Now, it's targeted toward kids and young families, but of course, totally open to the public. So
Absolutely.
when are the shows?
Our very first show is Halloween, so there's a different time for that. It's earlier than our other shows. It's at 4:30. At 3:30, Mr. Link and his students are doing an indoor trick-or-treat around the hallway with students from other activities at Jefferson, so that you can come in costume at 3:30 on Thursday to Jefferson and do an indoor, out of the bad weather, trick-or-treating opportunity.
Because it's going to be cold.
Yeah, and then
is.
come into the show in costume. And then the show lasts about an hour, and then you can go off on your merry way into your Halloween evening. That's 4:30 Thursday. 3:30 is the trick-or-treat opportunity. Friday, the show's at 5 and 7:30, and Saturday it's at 11 and 2.
Okay.
$5.
$5.
$5
All
for everyone.
seats.
And this is a production that, as you hinted at, very much should appeal to all age groups because of its unique structure. We know that this will be appealing to families, and there's lots to laugh at and enjoy, and that Mr. Link and the students at Jefferson will make that happen. But I really think that this is one that older audience members should consider attending to for the technical structure of it and just to see how this works. It's really a really cool and unique approach to theater and something different that hasn't been done in our community. So I really think everybody of all ages is just going to enjoy this immensely.
Very challenging for the students to mount a production like this. And you know this group well. Are they equal to the challenge,
Yes,
do you think?
yes. He knew last spring when he was considering this that he had the kids that were the improv team kids, or that were very, very into that physical comedy, that very, I don't even know how to explain physical comedy, but slapstick and movement, lots of rehearsed movement, especially when you add the sound effects to the rehearsed movement. So, yeah, he knew he had the right group of
And they
students for
produced
this.
a little teaser video that's on the Playtime Poppy website and on the
is.
Facebook page that you can find that shows these actors in character setting up and doing parts of this show for you to see, to kind of tease you and get you excited about it so you can get a little flavor of it. But if you just think of the old-timey silent movies, it's basically going to happen right in front of you on stage.
Only done live on stage.
Live on stage.
Laugh out loud.
The show is Reeling, coming up at Jefferson High School, October 31st through, November 2nd is Saturday. So if you'd like more information, get the times nailed down.
Playtimepoppy.org.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. Nice to see you both, and great to hear about you tackling this new job, Lynn, and come back when the next show rolls around and we'll talk more.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Thank you
Dennis.
for having us, Dennis.
Again, playtimepoppy.org if you'd like more information about Reeling or any of the other Playtime Poppy activities. You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio weekdays at 10:20, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture, or using your favorite podcast app. I'm Dennis Green.